The deafening screech of tearing metal jolted Captain Elara Vance from unconsciousness. Her eyes snapped open, only to be assaulted by a blinding emerald light. She blinked rapidly, willing her vision to adjust as the acrid smell of burning circuitry filled her nostrils. "Computer, status report." Elara barked, her throat raw from the smoke-filled air. Silence answered her. The realization hit her like a punch to the gut. Her ship was dead. Elara unclipped her harness with shaking hands, wincing as pain lanced through her ribs. She stumbled to her feet, surveying the wreckage of what had once been the sleek cockpit of her scout vessel. Sparks danced from exposed wiring, and twisted metal groaned ominously. "Got to get out," she muttered, limping towards the emergency hatch. It took all her strength to wrench it open, and she tumbled out onto alien soil. Elara's breath caught in her throat as she took in her surroundings. Twin suns blazed in an emerald sky, casting an eerie glow over a landscape of towering crystalline structures and undulating silver grass. "Where the hell am I?" she whispered, fumbling for her communication device. Static crackled when she activated it. "This is Scout Captain Elara Vance, ID 3729 Delta. Mayday, Mayday. I've crash-landed on an uncharted planet. Coordinates unknown. Request immediate extraction." Only the hiss of dead air responded. Elara cursed, tossing the useless device aside. She was on her own. A rustling in the nearby vegetation set her on edge. Elara's hand flew to her hip, grasping for a weapon that wasn't there. She held her breath as a figure emerged from the silvery fronds. It was humanoid but decidedly alien. Pale, almost translucent skin stretched over a willowy frame. Large, liquid eyes dominated a face devoid of nose or mouth. The creature's gaze locked onto Elara, and a look of unmistakable terror flashed across its features. "Hey, wait," Elara called as the being turned to flee. "I'm not going to hurt you." The alien paused, regarding her warily. It made a series of clicking sounds, gesturing frantically toward the horizon. Though Elara couldn't understand the words, the message was clear. Danger. "What kind of danger?" Elara asked, taking a step closer. The alien recoiled, its clicks becoming more urgent. It pointed at Elara, then at its own head, then off into the distance. Before Elara could decipher the creature's meaning, a sharp pain lanced through her skull. She gasped, clutching her temples as a foreign presence invaded her mind. Alien thoughts, not her own, swirled through her consciousness. Curiosity, hunger, anticipation. The sensation vanished as quickly as it had come, leaving Elara breathless and disoriented. When she looked up, the alien was gone, leaving only trampled silver grass in its wake. Elara's heart raced. "What the hell was that?" she muttered, scanning the area for any sign of the creature. Her gaze settled on a distant shimmer on the horizon, some kind of structure. Over the next few days, Elara encountered more of the male aliens. Each time, they reacted with the same mixture of fear and urgency, desperately trying to warn her of some unseen threat. Through a combination of gestures and crude drawings in the dirt, Elara began to piece together a chilling narrative. The planet was home to a tribe of powerful alien women, but they were far from benign. These women possessed terrifying psychic abilities and an insatiable hunger for life energy. The male aliens lived in constant fear, hiding in the shadows and fleeing at the slightest sign of female presence. Elara's curiosity warred with her growing sense of dread. The thought of approaching these dangerous beings sent shivers down her spine. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that they might be her only chance of getting off this planet. For days, she wrestled with her fear, watching the distant settlement from afar. She saw glimpses of the alien women, tall, graceful figures that moved with otherworldly beauty. But she also sensed the underlying menace, the predatory nature that kept the male population in a state of perpetual terror. Finally, after a week of internal debate and several failed attempts to repair her ship, Elara made her decision. She would approach the alien women, despite the risks. It was either that or resign herself to a life of hiding and scavenging on this alien world. With her heart pounding and palms sweating, Elara steeled herself and began the long walk towards the settlement. Every step felt like a battle against her instincts, which screamed at her to turn and run. But she pressed on, driven by a mixture of desperation and a stubborn refusal to give in to fear. As she crested the final hill, the alien settlement sprawled before her in all its bizarre, beautiful glory. Organic-looking structures twisted toward the sky, pulsing with bioluminescence, and moving among them. My God, Elara breathed. They were undeniably female, yet utterly alien. Tall, life forms moved with impossible grace, their skin shimmering with iridescent patterns. Elongated limbs ended in delicate, multi-jointed fingers. But it was their faces that captured Elara's attention, hauntingly beautiful, with large, luminous eyes that seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. Before Elara could react, she was surrounded. The alien women moved with preternatural speed, encircling her in the blink of an eye. She raised her hands in a gesture of peace, acutely aware of how vulnerable she was. "I come in peace," she said, wincing at how cliché it sounded. "My name is Elara Vance. I'm a human from the planet Earth. My ship crashed, and Elara's words died in her throat as that alien presence invaded her mind once more. This time it was stronger, more focused. She sensed curiosity, caution, and something else. Hunger. One of the aliens stepped forward. She was taller than the others, with intricate markings swirling across her skin. When she spoke, it wasn't with words, but with thoughts that materialized in Elara's mind. "Who are you, strange one? Why have you come to our world?" Elara struggled to form a coherent response, unused to this form of communication. "I'm an explorer," she managed, projecting her thoughts as clearly as she could. "A cartographer. My ship malfunctioned, and I crashed here by accident. I mean you no harm." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Yet harm follows in your wake. Your very presence disrupts the balance." "I don't understand," Elara said, a note of desperation creeping into her voice. "Please, I just want to contact my people and go home." The alien leader tilted her head, studying Elara intently. Home. A concept both familiar and foreign. We have not left this world in countless cycles. Perhaps your coming brings opportunity as well as danger. Elara sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The other aliens were communicating silently, a rapid-fire exchange of thoughts and emotions that left her dizzy. She caught fragments: debate, curiosity, hunger. "What do you mean by opportunity?" Elara asked cautiously. "And what danger?" The leader's gaze bore into her. "You are different from the others. Your mind, it holds such depths, such potential." A chill ran down Elara's spine. "Others? You mean the male aliens I encountered?" "Prey," came the dispassionate response. "Sustenance. But you could be so much more." Alarm bells rang in Elara's mind. She took a step back, only to find her path blocked by the circle of alien women. "I'm not sure I like where this is going," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "Look, I appreciate you not killing me on sight, but I really should be getting back to my ship. Maybe we can arrange some kind of official first contact." "You misunderstand." Elara Vance, the leader, interrupted. "You cannot leave. Your arrival may be the key to our survival." "Survival?" Elara echoed. "What do you mean?" The alien's thoughts carried a weight of sorrow. "Our people are dying. A sickness in our very essence prevents us from creating new life. We feed on the energy of others to sustain ourselves, but it is not enough. We need more." Elara's mind raced, piecing together the implications. "And you think I can help somehow?" "Perhaps," the leader admitted. "Your mind is unlike any we have encountered. It resists our touch, yet holds such potential. We must study you, Elara Vance, understand you." "Study me?" Elara said, alarm growing. "Look, I sympathize with your situation, but I'm not some lab rat. I have my own mission, my own people to get back to. The circle of aliens tightened, their thoughts pressing against her consciousness. Elara felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. You have no choice, the leader's thoughts echoed in her mind. Your fate is intertwined with ours now. Resist, and we will take what we need by force. Cooperate, and you may yet find a way to help both our peoples. Elara's head swam, overwhelmed by the alien presence in her mind. She struggled to form a coherent thought, to find some way out of this impossible situation. But as the world began to fade around her, one certainty remained. Her routine mapping mission had just become something far more dangerous and far more important than she could have ever imagined. When Elara regained consciousness, she found herself in a chamber unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls pulsed with a soft bioluminescent glow, and the air hummed with an energy she could feel but not quite understand. She was lying on a surface that seemed to mold itself to her body, neither hard nor soft, but perfectly supportive. Welcome back to awareness, Elara Vance, a familiar voice echoed in her mind. The alien leader stood at the foot of her resting place, those piercing eyes studying her with intense curiosity. Elara sat up slowly, her head still spinning from the psychic onslaught she had experienced. Where am I? What have you done to me? You are in our healing chamber, the alien replied. We have done nothing but ensure your physical well-being. Your mind, however, that is a different matter. A spark of defiance flared in Elara's chest. I won't be your guinea pig. I won't let you dissect my mind for your own purposes. The alien's thoughts carried a hint of amusement. Your species is fascinating, Elara Vance. So quick to assume the worst, yet so resilient in the face of the unknown. We have no intention of harming you. Quite the opposite, in fact. Then what do you want from me? Elara demanded. The alien leader moved closer, her movements fluid and graceful. We want to learn, to understand. Your mind is a puzzle we have never encountered before. It resists our touch in ways that should not be possible. If we can unravel this mystery, it may hold the key to our salvation. Elara's scientific curiosity warred with her instinct for self-preservation. And if I refuse to cooperate? Then you condemn both our species to a grim fate, the alien replied, her thoughts tinged with sadness. We will die out, unable to reproduce or sustain ourselves, and you will remain here, alone on a dying world, with no hope of rescue. The weight of the situation settled on Elara's shoulders. She was trapped, not just physically, but by the magnitude of the choice before her. Could she really turn her back on an entire species, even if helping them meant risking her own mind and body? I need time, Elara said finally. Time to think, to process all of this. And I need more information. If you want my cooperation, you have to be transparent about what's happening here. The alien leader nodded, a surprisingly human gesture. That is fair. Rest now, Elara Vance. When you are ready, we will show you our world, and you'll understand the true nature of our predicament. As the alien glided out of the chamber, Elara lay back down, her mind reeling. She had come to this planet seeking new star charts and trade routes. Instead, she found herself at the center of a struggle for survival that could reshape the future of two species. Whatever came next, Elara knew one thing for certain: her life would never be the same again. In the days that followed, Elara found herself immersed in a world beyond her wildest imagination. The alien leader, who introduced herself as Naya, became Elara's guide through the intricate society of the beings, now known to her as the Luminae. As promised, Naya shared the history of her people. The Luminae had once been a thriving civilization, masters of psychic energy and biological manipulation. But their pursuit of perfection led to a catastrophic mistake, a genetic modification that rendered them unable to reproduce naturally. Their numbers dwindled, and desperation drove them to feed on the life force of other sentient beings to survive. It's a terrible cycle, Naya explained, her thoughts tinged with remorse. We take what we need to live, but in doing so, We destroy the very beings we could learn from, grow with. Elara struggled to reconcile her horror at the Luminae's actions with her growing understanding of their plight. There has to be another way, she insisted. Your people are brilliant scientists. Surely you've explored other options. Naya's response was heavy with centuries of failure. We have tried everything we can imagine, but our biology is unique, tied to the psychic energies of this world. We require more than simple sustenance. We need the spark of consciousness, the depth of emotion and memory. As the days passed, Elara found herself working alongside the Luminae scientists, poring over data and running simulations. Her human perspective brought fresh ideas to their research, and slowly, a glimmer of hope began to emerge. What if, Elara proposed one day, her excitement palpable, we could create a symbiotic relationship instead of a parasitic one? A way for you to share energy with other beings without harming them. The idea sparked a flurry of activity among the Luminae. Elara's unique physiology, particularly her brain's resistance to their psychic touch, became the focus of intense study. Theory after theory was proposed and discarded, but Elara refused to give up. As she worked, Elara couldn't help but notice the way Naya watched her. The alien leader's gaze held a mixture of hope and something else, a warmth that sent shivers down Elara's spine. Despite herself, Elara found her initial fear of the Luminae fading, replaced by a growing admiration for their resilience and determination. One evening, as Elara stood on a balcony overlooking the crystalline spires of the Luminae city, Naya joined her. The alien's presence was a comforting warmth in Elara's mind. You've given us hope, Elara, Naya's thoughts whispered. For the first time in generations, we can see a future beyond mere survival. Elara turned to face her, struck once again by the alien's otherworldly beauty. We're close to a breakthrough, I can feel it. But Naya, we need more data, more diverse samples to work with. Naya's eyes widened as she caught the direction of Elara's thoughts. You want to bring more humans here. Elara, the risk. It's necessary, Elara finished firmly. My ship's distress beacon is still active. If we boost the signal, we could attract a rescue mission. With more human minds to study, we might find the key to saving your people. And if we can't control ourselves? Naya's fear was palpable. If we harm your people in our desperation? Elara reached out, hesitating for a moment before placing her hand on Naya's arm. The contact sent a jolt of electricity through both of them. I trust you, Naya, and I'll be here to mediate, to help both sides understand each other. For a long moment, Naya was silent, her alien features unreadable. Then slowly she nodded. Very well, Elara Vance. We will follow your plan. But know this, if we fail, if we bring destruction to your people or ours, that weight will be on both our shoulders. Elara swallowed hard, feeling the magnitude of the decision settle over her. I understand, but we have to try, for both our sakes. As the twin suns set, casting the alien world in shades of emerald and gold, Elara and Naya stood side by side, united in their determination to forge a new future. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but for the first time since her crash landing, Elara felt a surge of true hope. Little did she know the greatest challenges and the most astonishing discoveries still lay ahead. The fate of two species now rested in her hands, and Elara was determined to find a solution. The alternative was unthinkable. As night fell, Elara retreated to her quarters, her mind racing with plans and possibilities. She knew the risks were enormous, but the potential rewards were even greater. If they succeeded, it could mean not just survival, but a new era of cooperation between humans and the Luminae. Sleep eluded her as she imagined the reactions of her fellow humans when they arrived. Would they see the beauty and potential in this alien world as she had come to? Or would fear and mistrust lead to conflict? Elara clenched her fists, determination coursing through her veins. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them. For the sake of two species, and for Naya, whose alien presence had become a comfort she couldn't imagine living without, Elara would find a way. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity as Elara and the Luminae prepared for the arrival of potential human rescuers. Using salvaged parts from her crashed ship and the Luminae's advanced technology, they constructed a powerful signal amplifier. As the device hummed to life, broadcasting Elara's distress call into the depths of space, a mix of anticipation and anxiety settled over the alien city. Elara found herself spending more time with Naya, their minds brushing against each other with increasing familiarity. The alien leader's presence had become a source of comfort, even as Elara grappled with the complexity of her growing feelings. "Tell me about your world, Elara," Naya requested one evening as they walked through a garden of bioluminescent plants. "What will your people expect when they arrive?" Elara chuckled, a sound that still fascinated the Luminae. "Honestly, they won't know what to expect. Humans are explorers at heart, but we're also cautious. They'll come armed, ready for anything from a warm welcome to hostile aliens." Naya's thoughts flickered with concern. And how do we ensure it's the former rather than the latter? "Transparency," Elara said firmly. "We need to be upfront about your situation, your needs, and the potential for mutual benefit. No secrets, no hidden agendas." As they continued their walk, a commotion from the city center caught their attention. A group of younger Luminae approached, their thoughts a jumble of excitement and apprehension. "Naya, Elara," one called out, both verbally and mentally. "We've detected a ship entering the system." Elara's heart leaped into her throat. This was it, the moment of truth. As they rushed to the command center, she sent up a silent prayer that her faith in both species would prove justified. The Luminae's advanced sensors provided a clear view of the approaching vessel. Elara recognized it immediately, a Terran Alliance, long-range scout ship, similar to her own but larger. "They're hailing us," a Luminae technician announced. Elara took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Let me speak to them first. It's important they see a human face." Naya nodded, her hand brushing Elara's in a gesture of support. The touch sent a shiver down Elara's spine, but she forced herself to focus on the task at hand. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of a stern-looking man in a Terran Alliance uniform. His eyes widened in surprise as he recognized Elara. "Captain Voss, we picked up your distress signal, but where exactly are you?" Elara smiled, trying to project calm confidence. "Commander, it's good to see a familiar face. I'm on an uncharted planet with a sentient species called the Luminae. They've been helping me since my ship crashed. We have a lot to discuss. I'd like to request that you and a small team shuttle down to meet us." The commander's brow furrowed. "Captain, given the unknown nature of the situation, I'm not sure that's wise. Perhaps you should return to the ship, and we can." "Sir," Elara interrupted, her voice firm. "I understand your concerns, but I assure you, it's crucial that you come here. The Luminae are facing a crisis that could have far-reaching implications for both our species. Please, trust me on this." There was a long pause as the commander considered her words. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Captain. We'll prepare a shuttle, but be advised we'll be coming armed and with shields at maximum." "Understood, Commander. We'll be ready to receive you." As the transmission ended, Elara turned to find Naya and the other Luminae watching her intently. "Well," she said, managing a small smile, "this is where it gets interesting." The next few hours were a flurry of preparation. Elara worked with Naya and the Luminae scientists to prepare a presentation on their situation and the potential for collaboration. They decided to hold the meeting in an open plaza, a gesture of transparency that Elara hoped would help ease human fears. As the Terran shuttle descended through the emerald sky, Elara stood at the forefront of a group of Luminae, Naya by her side. The air crackled with tension and anticipation. The shuttle touched down, its engines kicking up swirls of silver grass. The hatch opened, and out stepped Commander Reeves, flanked by a security team and a group of wide-eyed scientists. Elara stepped forward, her heart pounding. This was the moment that would determine the future of two species. "Commander, welcome to Lumina. We have a lot to discuss." As humans and Luminae faced each other for the first time, Elara could feel the weight of history on her shoulders. She had become the bridge between two worlds, and now it was time to see if that bridge could bear the weight placed upon it. The initial meeting was tense, filled with cautious questions and guarded responses. Elara found herself constantly mediating, translating not just words, but intentions and cultural nuances. She could sense the humans' mix of fascination and fear, the Luminae's desperate hope tinged with shame over their past actions. As Elara and Naya explained the Luminae's dire situation and the potential for a mutually beneficial solution, she could see the human scientist's eyes light up with the possibilities. Commander Reeves, however, remained skeptical. "Captain Voss," he said during a break in the presentations, "I appreciate the gravity of the situation, but I'm not comfortable with the idea of experimenting on human subjects, even volunteers. The risks are simply too great." Elara nodded, understanding his concerns. "I know it seems daunting, Commander, but consider the potential benefits. If we can unlock the secret of the Luminae's psychic abilities, it could revolutionize human understanding of consciousness itself. And in return, we might save an entire species from extinction." As the discussions continued late into the night, Elara found herself growing weary. The constant mental and emotional strain of bridging two vastly different cultures was taking its toll. She excused herself for a moment, stepping out onto a balcony to clear her head. Naya joined her, her presence a soothing balm in Elara's mind. "You're doing wonderfully," the alien leader communicated. "I've never seen our people so hopeful." Elara turned to her, struck once again by the otherworldly beauty of her alien friend. "It's not enough though, is it? I can sense the humans' reluctance. They're not ready to trust you fully." Naya's hand found Elara's, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that had become familiar and comforting. "Trust takes time, Elara. You've given us a chance we never thought possible. Whatever happens now, know that you've changed us forever." As they stood there, bathed in the ethereal light of luminous moons, Elara felt a surge of determination. She would find a way to bring these two species together, to forge a future neither could have imagined alone. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges, but in that moment, with Naya by her side, Elara knew she was exactly where she needed to be. As dawn broke over the crystalline spires of the Luminae city, Elara found herself standing before a mixed group of humans and aliens. The night had been long, filled with heated debates and cautious negotiations. Now, it was time to put their tentative plans into action. "What we're proposing," Elara began, her voice steady despite her nerves, "is a controlled experiment. A small group of human volunteers will work with the Luminae, attempting to establish a safe, symbiotic psychic link. Our goal is to find a way for the Luminae to share energy without causing harm." Commander Reeves frowned, his skepticism evident. "And what safeguards can you offer these volunteers, Captain Voss? How can we be sure this won't end in tragedy?" Before Elara could respond, Naya stepped forward. Her alien features were set in a look of determination that transcended species barriers. "We propose a mutual exchange," she communicated, her thoughts broadcast to all present. "For every human who volunteers, one of our own will offer themselves as a test subject for your scientists. We will face any risks together." A murmur ran through the assembled group. This was unprecedented, a gesture of trust that could change everything. Elara felt a swell of pride for Naya's bold move. "Furthermore," Naya continued, "I will be the first to volunteer. If there is any danger, I will face it before asking others to do so." The impact of Naya's words was palpable. Elara could see the shift in the humans' expressions, from guarded suspicion to cautious hope. Even Commander Reeves seemed taken aback by the alien leader's willingness to put herself at risk. As discussions resumed with renewed vigor, Elara pulled Naya aside. "That was incredibly brave," she said, her admiration evident in both her voice and her thoughts. but also incredibly risky. Are you sure about this? Naya's mind brushed against Elara's, a sensation that had become as familiar as it was exhilarating. I've never been more certain of anything, Elara. You've shown us a new way forward. It's time we took that path, whatever the cost. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. A joint research team was established, combining the best minds from both species. Elara found herself at the center of it all, translating not just words, but concepts between the two groups. Progress was slow and fraught with setbacks. The first attempts at establishing a controlled psychic link between a human volunteer and a luminae resulted in migraines and disorientation on both sides. But with each failure came new data, new understanding. It was during one of these experiments that disaster nearly struck. Elara was observing as Naya attempted to form a link with Dr. Amelia Chen, one of the human scientists. Suddenly, Naya's form began to flicker, her psychic energy fluctuating wildly. Something's wrong, Dr. Chen cried out, clutching her head in pain. Without thinking, Elara rushed forward, placing herself between Naya and Dr. Chen. She felt a surge of energy course through her body, her mind expanding in ways she couldn't comprehend. For a moment, she was everywhere and nowhere, connected to every living thing on the planet. Then, as suddenly as it began, the sensation faded. Elara found herself on her knees, gasping for breath. Naya was beside her, concern etched on her alien features. Elara, are you all right? What happened? As Elara struggled to find words, Dr. Chen's excited voice cut through the haze. Incredible. The readings we got from that moment, it's like nothing we've ever seen before. Elara, you acted as some kind of buffer, stabilizing the energy flow between Naya and me. The revelation sparked a frenzy of new theories and experiments. Elara's unique physiology, which had allowed her to resist the Luminae's psychic touch, now seemed to be the key to bridging the gap between the two species. As the research team worked tirelessly to understand what had happened, Elara found herself spending more time with Naya. Their bond had deepened, transcending the boundaries of their different species. In quiet moments, they shared thoughts and feelings that went beyond words, human or alien. I never imagined this was possible, Naya communicated one evening as they watched the twin suns set. To connect with another being so completely, yet remain whole. Elara smiled, her hand finding Naya's. Maybe that's been the answer all along. Not domination or consumption, but true symbiosis. Two beings, stronger together than apart. As night fell over the alien world, Elara felt a sense of hope stronger than anything she had experienced before. They were on the cusp of something revolutionary, a discovery that could change the course of both their species. But even as hope loomed, a new challenge loomed on the horizon. Unbeknownst to the researchers, their activities had attracted attention from beyond the planet's surface. In the depths of space, another ship was approaching, one that would test the newfound alliance between humans and Luminae to its very limits. As Elara drifted off to sleep that night, her mind intertwined with Naya's in a now familiar comfort, she had no idea that the greatest test of her life was about to begin. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance, and the actions of one human woman would determine whether this fragile connection would flourish or be destroyed forever. The early morning calm was shattered by blaring alarms. Elara jolted awake, her mind instantly alert and reaching out to Naya. The alien's thoughts were a whirlwind of concern and confusion. What's happening? Elara asked as she rushed to dress. Naya's response was tense. An unknown ship has entered the system. It's not responding to hails. Elara's heart sank. She had hoped for more time, for a chance to solidify the fragile alliance between humans and Luminae before facing outside interference. Now, it seemed fate had other plans. They raced to the command center, where Commander Reeves and a mixed group of human and Luminae personnel were already gathered. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Report, Elara demanded, slipping easily into her role as a bridge between the two species. A Luminae technician responded, her thoughts tinged with fear. The ship is of unknown origin, but its energy signature suggests advanced weaponry. It's on an intercept course with the planet. Commander Rees turned to Elara, his expression grim. Captain Voss, we need to consider evacuation, if this turns hostile. No, Elara interrupted firmly. We can't abandon the Luminae. Whatever this is, we face it together. Naya stepped forward, her gratitude palpable in the mental link she shared with Elara. We appreciate your loyalty, but we cannot ask you to risk your lives for us. Elara looked around the room, meeting the eyes of humans and Luminae alike. We're not just risking our lives. We're fighting for a future that could change everything. If we run now, we lose all we've worked for. A tense silence fell over the group. Then, slowly, nods of agreement began to spread. Human scientists clasped hands with their Luminae counterparts. Commander Rees straightened his uniform, a look of determination replacing his earlier doubt. "All right, Captain Voss," he said. "What's the plan?" Over the next few hours, humans and Luminae worked together with a sense of unified purpose that would have been unthinkable just days before. They prepared defenses, coordinated communication strategies, and, most importantly, continued their research into the psychic link that could be their salvation. As the unknown ship drew nearer, Elara found herself in the research lab with Naya and Dr. Chen. They were close to a breakthrough, she could feel it, if they could just stabilize the energy transfer. Suddenly, the entire facility shook. The unknown ship had entered orbit and was scanning the planet with intense energy beams. "We're out of time," Dr. Chen said, her voice shaking. Elara looked at Naya, an unspoken understanding passing between them. "No," Elara said firmly. "We have one last chance. Naya, link with me. Dr. Chen, monitor our vitals. We're going to try to reach out to that ship." "Elara, the risk," Naya began, but Elara cut her off with a gentle touch. "We've come too far to give up now. Trust me." As alarms blared and chaos erupted around them, Elara and Naya joined hands. Their minds merged, the familiar connection deepening into something more profound than ever before. Elara felt her consciousness expand, reaching out beyond the confines of the planet. She sensed the ship above them, felt the intentions of its crew. To her shock, she recognized a familiar psychic signature, one that resonated with the Luminae, yet was somehow different. With all her strength, Elara projected a single thought. "We mean you no harm. Please, let us talk." For a moment, there was nothing. Then a response came, not in words, but in a flood of images and emotions. Elara gasped as understanding washed over her. The ship belonged to a splinter group of Luminae who had left the planet generations ago, seeking a cure for their genetic plague. They had returned, drawn by the psychic disturbances caused by the human Luminae experiments. Elara felt Naya's shock and joy at this revelation. Together, they communicated the story of what had transpired on the planet, the crash, the alliance, the breakthroughs they were on the verge of making. As the psychic conversation unfolded, Elara became aware of Dr. Chen's excited voice in the background. "The readings, it's incredible. The energy flow is stable, far more powerful than anything we've seen before." Slowly, carefully, Elara and Naya withdrew from the deep mental link. As they opened their eyes, they found the lab crowded with humans and Luminae, all watching in awe. Commander Rees stepped forward, his expression a mix of confusion and hope. "Captain Voss, what just happened?" Elara smiled, feeling more alive than she ever had before. "Commander, I think we just made first contact. Again. And in doing so, we may have solved two problems at once." Over the next few days, as the Luminae from the ship joined their planet-bound cousins and the human researchers, a new era of cooperation and discovery began. The returning Luminae brought with them advanced technology and generations of research, which, when combined with the breakthroughs made on the planet, finally offered a path to saving their species. But more than that, The event had proven the power of the human-Lumine connection. The stable psychic link Elara and Naya had formed became a model for a new kind of symbiosis, one that offered benefits to both species without harm to either. As Elara stood on a balcony overlooking the city, now bustling with activity as humans and Lumine worked side by side, she felt a sense of pride and accomplishment unlike anything she had ever known. Naya joined her, their hands intertwining naturally. "You did it, Elara," Naya communicated, her thoughts warm with affection. "You saved us all." Elara shook her head, smiling. "We did it, Naya. All of us, together. This is just the beginning." As they looked out at the twin suns setting over the horizon, Elara knew that her life had changed forever. She had come to this planet as an explorer and found not just a new world, but a new future, one filled with possibilities she had never dreamed of. The hungry alien girl tribe was no more. In its place stood a united people, human and Lumine alike, ready to face the challenges of the future together. And at the heart of it all was Elara Vance, the brave woman who had dared to approach the unknown and, in doing so, had changed the course of two civilizations forever.